This is Fearlessly Fertile. Welcome to the Fearlessly Fertile podcast, episode 340. It's a Fearlessly Fertile Miracle Papa story with Adam. And this story is going to absolutely pull at your heartstrings and get you believing in miracles and possibility all over again. Because when you hear all about Adam's story and what he and his amazing partner Katy went through to get to hold their baby girl, it's not only going to pull on your heartstrings, but it will have you believe in miracles again. You know Katy from the podcast. She is an OG. And now you get to hear Adam's side of the story. And as women, well, mostly women listening to this podcast, we know that one of the things that we fear the most is loss. And it can really turn your faith, it can turn your belief in what's coming for you absolutely on its ear. But in this episode, you're going to learn how Adam addressed that loss and how he and Katy rebuilt their lives and did the seemingly impossible. So here is my conversation with the glorious Adam. Why don't you start off by sharing a little bit about how you and Katy found yourselves on this journey?
Thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody tuning in. Yeah, it's a great privilege to be here. I suppose at first, I don't know if Katy's ever told you this story. We met at two good friends' wedding. I was a groomsman, she was a bridesmaid. We'd never met before, and then the romance blossomed from there. So quite a beautiful story there, and kind of the natural progression of things. We started dating, we moved in together. And then probably about 2 to 3 years down the line, we were thinking about buying a property, and it kind of came to that natural progression of we would like to have a family together. Both of us had always wanted children. Both of us always thought of ourselves as parents, as she'd obviously had a strong desire to be a mother. I felt like I had a lot to give as a father. And then we started trying. And it didn't quite go to plan. And I think after a while, you start to explore your options. I looked into, and this isn't something I believe most men are very comfortable doing, but for me, it kind of felt like a very small part to play of getting my semen analysis done, going and speaking to doctors, learning I had low morphology and things, all of these new things that I never knew existed. But were playing a factor or could potentially play a factor in any round of us trying. So yeah, we tried everything. We tried the pills, we tried the powders. I even went and got my teeth. I had some dentistry work going because I heard that oral stuff can affect it. I started to wear pants with kind of cooling bits that we popped in the freezer, putting my phone in my back pocket, keep it cooler, laptop on my lap and all of that. So yeah, it felt like a longer progression to start the journey, because you hear about so many people like, hey, we started trying. Hey, we're having a baby. For us, it was just a different approach there.
And I'm sure you're like, hey, I didn't realize all this cooling and all this other stuff that I had to do. I mean, I think most of us take that for granted.
Yeah.
Until we find ourselves on this journey. I mean, was there anything that worried you when you started to have to do all these things?
I think there were always kind of doubts in my mind of if we couldn't have our own baby, what that would mean. Obviously, there's routes of adoption, and there's other forms of that. Firstly, my mom was adopted. Her parents, my grandparents, are phenomenal people. They are my grandparents. I don't see it any other way. But there was always that kind of nagging in the back of my mind of, could I love a child that wasn't really mine? I knew that I could, but there was just this little kind of devil on the other shoulder, kind of gnawing at that. So that was something that worried me. Did kind of, as we were progressing, did my opinion change as well? Did I still want children if it was proven so difficult? We had a great life. We loved each other, but we both felt that a child would make our family complete. And I think the main thing, I think for me across all of this and what most people is, you're letting other people down. Like our parents both wanted grandchildren. Katie as well. If it was me, if it was my semen or something I was doing, I wasn't eating right or anything like that, I was the person kind of letting it down. So I think that's kind of the underlying thing of the worry of, will it ever happen?
It's a lot of pressure, Adam.
Yeah. And I feel like it's pressure everybody puts on themselves, I think, unnecessarily. If we decide to have a baby and it doesn't happen, it affects other people, but primarily it's us. And I think that's what kind of Katie and I learned across this journey as well, is that we can control how we feel and how this makes us feel. But if my parents are kind of devastated that they will never have a grandchild, I've got an older brother who doesn't want children. So this is their only opportunity to have a grandchild. And so you're like, okay, I get it now. Like, so even though, yes, they're a big part to play in both of our worlds, they aren't the ones going, we would really like you to have a child because we want a grandchild. But it's there. It's always there under the level. So yeah.
That's the weight of so many people's happiness, right? When you think about it, you're like, And then
when she's here, like the early stages, they didn't get a smile. It was like, oh, we didn't get a smile today. And it's like, when does that kind of, that pressure stop of like trying to achieve other people's happiness as well, kind of thing. It's not just you. You're like, well, she's not smiling today, or she doesn't really know you yet. She's seen you a handful of times. It will come. And now they're in love. They're totally in love with her. She loves them. They love her. But it's just those first few months, like, give us a smile. It's just,
I know. I love that you brought our attention to a point like that, because I think that is also what can create a lot of conflict in the couple as a result of this journey, because you've got expectations. There's people who have expectations of you, and it can really feel, as much as this is a shared experience for the couple, it's also a deeply personal one. Because I'm sure that it brought stuff up in you that you're like, why am I thinking like this? Or I haven't felt that way in a really long time. I think it's an emotional roller coaster for all of us in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You hit your nail on the head there. Like, and how what you're feeling is how your partner's feeling as well. You're not always in lockstep. So they need to understand your parents.
Yes.
And vice versa. So they're like, and that's where some of that comes from. Katie's like, okay, I need, like, both love my mum to pieces, but like, it's like, I need your mum to stop asking me these questions now. She can just ask you. And then that's where I felt like I could help kind of be in that barrier of like, if you have a question, if you want to understand how this round of treatment has gone or anything like that, it's not as much of a trigger for me. Same with her parents and anybody. If anybody had a question, it was like, come to me. And then if I don't know, that's how I felt I could be quite helpful, be that barrier. So Katie could focus on herself without focusing on others about the disappointment and the questions, because she's like so much going through her mind and in her body. I could be that kind of, not neutral, but I was the kind of the point where I could kind of be like, this isn't important, I can answer that or anything. So
wow. So in this process, Adam, did you have many men that you confided in? Like, did you talk about this with your guy friends?
Not really. I've only got kind of like a handful of kind of who I would call best friends. I've got loads of people that I know through sport and through my work network, but for people that I speak to day to day, not really. I think that's probably a common theme with most men. We don't talk about our stuff unless we're together and you've kind of had a couple of beers in the pub and you're like, well, so and so happened, and then they ask, and then you're in that sort of bubble, aren't you? You're in that safety net of kind of being together. two of my best friends live abroad and somebody else lives kind of a couple of hours away. So when we were together, we did. And they knew that we had experienced loss. But when I kind of said, well, we'd experienced this and we'd experienced that, we'd lost a couple, they were like, shit, I didn't know that. I knew you were going through it, but the extent of it. And then I think that there opened up, because they hadn't experienced it, that I'm aware of. Like, no, neither one of us told them. One of my best friends has had a second child about the same time as when we had Riley. And my other best friend's got kind of a 3 to 4 year old. But yeah, it's how do they broach those questions to me? So I think as much as I didn't have that opportunity to speak to people, and I was always happy to, I wouldn't be the one to kind of engage it, because I'm like, this is a lot for people to take on. So it's like, keep it in what we can control. And Katie was my rock, I was hers, and we let people in when we could. But yeah, how do you start that conversation? Like, but when we had it, it was fine. But it's like, I think they found it harder when to check in with me. Do they text me a couple of weeks later and go, hey, are you still having issues? Or, hey, I heard about this. It's such a hard subject. I wouldn't say taboo for any of my friends, because I think we're quite open, but yeah, how do you start that conversation? Yeah.
This is why we wanted to take a look at this side of it, because I think men, you guys get kind of lost in the mix. And it's really easy because they're like, oh, well, all these things are happening to the women and I'm a man, I can go handle my stuff. But it's like, I don't know about that. I don't quite know about that. I think that it's really cool for men to be able to have a network if they choose, right? Because everyone's going to handle this a little differently. There's no one perfect way to do it. But knowing that you at least could trust your friends, the message to the people listening to this is, hey, don't necessarily count your friends out. It may not be something that you talk about all the time, but maybe give them the chance, because your friends ended up being there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes it was the friends that I had that weren't my best friends. So some of my work colleagues kind of learned about this because I needed time off. And then when we were together at work events, you kind of have that bond, and you can be quite, you're sharing some quite deep stuff, and there's certain things you wouldn't share. And this wouldn't just generally be men. It could be my female colleagues as well, primarily, but it's kind of not looking at your inner circle always. Sometimes speaking to a stranger or somebody that you don't know very well, you could probably be a bit more open and honest of your struggles and everything. So I feel like there was a bit of both that I had, which kind of helped.
Well, and yeah, I mean, and Katie had that part. You know, she had that part. She had this wild American that she was doing these calls with.
I have some of those that I work with as well, Roseanne. So yeah.
Well, so what was that like for you? Because she tells you, hey, I'm going to do this weird thing. And then what was that like for you to kind of witness that she was getting this kind of help?
When she first started getting this type of help, I, if I'm honest, I didn't understand it. I was kind of in a place where I felt pretty awful and helpless that I couldn't help to start with. I felt guilty that I couldn't do like what we were talking about earlier. There's certain things you can't support people with emotionally. It's in their body. It's physically happening to them. We can do shoulder rubs. We can kind of let's talk about it, anything like that. But women live with this 24/7. So I think I didn't understand it, but I was fully supportive of it. I was like,
did you think it was witchcraft, Adam?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
bollocks. If I can use some British slang.
I don't think it was that. I think for me, looking at other sort of like looking at other holistic methods of kind of, should we call it treatment, not just for fertility, for anything. Like Katie's tried acupuncture, she's tried kinesiology before. So kind of looking at it from that holistic approach, it's not just a man and a woman making a baby. It's like, what else can kind of go into this? And it's like, when you're on this journey for so long, it's like, let's try something else. Kinesiology, I tried it once, didn't work for me. I couldn't kind of bond with it. Didn't really believe it enough for it to work. So I think I came into it with a very open mind, and that kind of, I didn't understand it, and I probably didn't try hard enough to understand it. So that's probably one thing I would say to any men listening to this, that their partners are on this journey with you, is invest a little bit of time, kind of maybe speak about the calls afterwards, or kind of just ask those questions and kind of be a bit more curious. Because I didn't know enough, but I knew it's something that Katy wanted. And I felt that it could give her the confidence. It started to empower her more. But it was something I wanted to support her throughout.
What did you start to notice about her when she started this work? Did you notice any changes happening?
I think it's kind of, it wasn't so night and day, and there wasn't kind of a point where I was like, right, we've got the old Katy back, everything's okay. I think it felt, when I was writing some notes, it felt weird writing this in pen to paper, because I kind of witnessed it and I experienced it, but writing it kind of feels very kind of not clinical, but she kind of stopped being less of a victim. She started to kind of own her own destiny. She was like, this is something that I can do. This is something that I can control. So kind of how her approach to having a baby and kind of what we needed to do, it didn't define us if we couldn't or if we were struggling. She just kind of owned it a little bit more. It wouldn't kind of defeat her entirely. We even went into a shop where I think this was the big marker where I realized that things had changed. She said, let's go and buy a baby item. Let's go and buy something for our baby when they're here. She picked up a baby grow, and I picked up like a little baseball cap. And that was kind of going into when we lost Ronnie, which was our kind of loss right before we had Riley. So that kind of, that magic, if we're going to call it, if we're going to witchcraft, wizardry, it worked. Like, it's not bollocks. Maybe you think it is. Some people go, oh, but like,
I definitely don't think it's bollocks. I know it's not. But.
No, I know, but yeah, for the people listening, for the men out there, and people that maybe don't understand what their wives are doing with this, it's powerful. Like I said, I don't think it's something that I could do. I don't think I'm capable of kind of like visualizing it and prophesizing in that extent, but I was fully supportive of it, and it worked. We went out and bought stuff. We've still got those items. We've kept them. They mean a lot to us. So yeah, it was transformational. Less anxiety, more sleep, and kind of getting as much of a normal life back as we could. Mm-hmm.
You guys faced a lot, and I know that you had mentioned at times feeling helpless.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I knew what was going on in the background, and Katy and I were speaking. But as you guys had suffered the devastation that you had suffered, like, how did you take care of yourself, if at all?
I think in terms of kind of how I process this, emotionally, I very much live in the moment. The devastation of getting the call from the treatment center and going, hey, unfortunately, it's not successful, or unfortunately, the embryos aren't quite developing. That devastated me. And I think it was in those moments where I was at my lowest. But to my point, we're not living it 24/7. It's not our bodies that are getting ready for another cycle, the hormones that are pumping through you. And that's where I go back to the guiltiness. Like, I don't think I felt like I was traumatized by this enough, like only in the moment of when we lost and when I was supporting Katy, where I found myself tremendously upset, or if I was speaking to somebody about it, like if I was actively thinking about it, that's when it got to me. But I felt that as as a privilege for me, just who I am, or maybe it's men entirely, I was able to kind of live kind of outside of that and have it not affect me too much. So it was tough in certain moments, but I think I don't want to say lucky, but yeah, it wasn't something that was with me 24/7.
I think it's just the difference in the experience, right? And I think that explains some of the powerlessness and that sense of guilt. Like, and I love that the humility with which you speak about that, because I think that's a thought that not a lot of men know how to express, is that guilt over not suffering enough. And I can see why Katy loves you, because, you know, you want to be in that with her. But I think that if men can take something away from this, it would be like, do exactly what you did, is you can support from wherever you are, but you can't possibly live that experience for us.
No, 100%. And I think it's not something that kind of eats away at me, but it's something I'm just very aware of, that, and yeah, you can't ever understand. So you just have to be there in however you can be.
Well, and so let's fast forward a little bit, because you guys had gone through so many rounds of IVF. You had devastating losses, but there was a moment where something magical happened. Something that you guys weren't sure would ever happen. What was that like from Big Daddy Adam's perspective?
I mean, I think because we'd been through this so many times, it was like we'd been pregnant a few times, or we'd had good news. I think Katy came into the room, and my memory is blurred for this. My memory is absolute trash, and this is where it differs as well. It's kind of, you remember different pockets, and Katy's like, "Do you remember that?" I'm like, I'm not sure. She was like, "It's quite a big thing." I'm like, but I think she came into the room, and if it was this one time, she was like, "I'm pregnant." I just went, "Fuck off." Like, it was like, kind of, we'd been trying and stuff like that. We'd done all of the treatment. We hadn't had a natural one. And then she just came in the room and she was like, "Adam, I'm pregnant." And it was kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, I believed her, but it was kind of a throwaway comment of just kind of like, yeah, sure you are. Yeah. Because you're trying all of these different things. You're going to spend all of this money, for somebody to help you, for it to just happen naturally. You're just like, oh, okay. And then you begin to believe it. She starts showing a little bit more. We don't tell anybody. And then we're allowed to, in our own little bubble, enjoy it. And then it just kept going and going and going. And it was fantastic. Like, to see her pregnant and to see her, she's been a mother before this, but to see her carry our child and see that journey, yeah, she was beautiful throughout. And I think it just kind of really was like, we're finally going to get there. Yeah.
I remember when she messaged me, and I remember thinking, of course, this is how it happens, right? Like, of course, it's what she always wanted. She wanted to get pregnant naturally. Like, this is, it's a very romantic thing, Adam. Think about it, right? It's like you guys have all of this craziness going on in your life and so much heartbreak. And I remember her describing there was a point when she just felt happy again. And boom, baby Riley shows up. And so you're a girl dad.
Yeah.
What's that like? Because I got to meet your daughter in London last year.
She's phenomenal. She's moving in. She's 16 months. God, my math is terrible. I think she was moving into her 16th month. So she's kind of coming up to the 1.5 year mark. She's running around. She's at nursery. You can see the sort of little bit of personality, the diva personality, kind of coming in a little bit of like, who's going to be the person? Like, Dad, can I get it from you? Oh, maybe not. I'm going to go to Mum, or try Mum, come to Dad. But yeah, we kind of do like a little rough and tumble. It's kind of getting up in the morning. Those early hours are horrific. But yeah, the calm of it all, and to, like you say, just to look down at your daughter and be like, okay, let's just calm down. She's a baby. She doesn't understand it, but she's here. It's magical. Yeah. She's gorgeous in every single way. And it's like, you start then thinking ahead without rushing. What's she going to sound like? What's she going to do? What she's going to be successful at and stuff like that. You can really start to dream and kind of, where do you want to go on holiday? What do you want to show her in the world kind of thing? So yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, loving it at the moment, but still those early mornings, sometimes get you.
It's dad life, Adam. It's dad life. Mm-hmm. When I saw Katy last year in London, I was just thinking, her baby's actually here. Your guys' baby is actually here. She was glowing. Mm-hmm. This was everything that the two of you wanted. And it's such a delight to see you guys growing together and continuing to create amazing things. So what would you want the men listening to take away from your experience?
I think I was quite lucky in a way that if Katy was like, let's go and get your sperm test, I was like, okay, but you can't, this isn't personal. Nobody's attacking you. If you are the problem and you are the only thing that could solve this, why not go and get your semen analysis checked? Like, I went and saw a doctor, which I wasn't super happy about, and he checked my testicles for varicocele, like to see if the veins were kind of strangling my testicles and affecting the sperm. Like, I was like, okay, Kate was like, I think we need to go see, he's the best person. And I was like, yeah, sure. And just get over yourself. Like, really, if you could go and get your semen tested and realize you have low morbidity, low morphology, all of that sort of stuff, and can take like a pill or a powder for kind of like 2 to 3 months and do this, it's insignificant really in the grand scheme of things to what kind of your partner's going through year, week, month, year. If you're going through fertility treatment as well, that's such a toll. So yeah, just check yourself and just be like, if I can do this, or if my partner's saying, try this, explore it, give it a go. If it doesn't work, it's only a couple of months. And I think, like I've kind of come back to a few times, is be there emotionally for your partner, kind of be there physically too, but kind of it isn't always kind of the proximity to that. It's just being available. Just speaking to Katy last night about this, I was like, oh, kind of, what about this worked for you? And she was like, but there were times where I felt like I needed to go in when she was having kind of anxiety attacks, like panic attacks, to give her a really kind of tight hug to kind of hold her. But then that progressed, and I learned, and we spoke about it, that it was just, I needed to be in the room. So very much learning that what you think is right isn't always right. Try to communicate. We don't know what we're doing in this situation. Not a lot of people do, but just be open and vulnerable to knowing that you could be doing something wrong, but let's work at kind of trying to get better at that. And I think I've kind of touched on this. It's kind of a privilege that we have, that we can just be the men in this situation. And yes, some men will be more affected than others by this journey, but we don't live it 24/7. So don't abuse that. Don't take that for granted, and be there when you can. And I think to the case of this, the coaching with you, if they want to try something different and you don't quite understand it, maybe it's financial investment or anything like that. Everybody's situation is different. Kind of allow it if you can. Allow your partner to explore what they want to do, because ultimately it's going to help you both. And if it helps your partner, then it helps you as well. I don't want to say happy wife, happy life, but it's
it's kind of true, Adam. It's kind of true. Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of, they're the ones researching. Like Katy's like, oh, I have like something about this. What's this new treatment, or what's this new powder or pill kind of thing? For me, it wasn't that much, because I think what men can do is a little bit more limited. But yeah, I think check your insecurities at the door and go into this head first and do the test, get the checks, take a pill once a day, like that's nothing. So yeah, get over it.
You raised such a brilliant point, Adam, that I want to make sure that we zero in on super quickly is if you don't know what to do, ask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just ask. Because I think that's one of the most effective things that we can do. I mean, men, women, everybody, like the presumption that you as a man would just instinctively know what to do is insanity. Why not just say, like, hey, I see that you're hurting. Tell me what I can do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it's hard to know that, but then you can learn that and kind of instinctively act on it before something happens. Katy left the room a couple of years ago. I think it might have been after we lost Ronnie. And I was like, she's been gone a short while, but I knew that she wasn't going to bed. She wasn't in the bathroom or anything like that. She was just somewhere else. And I was like, I'm just going to go check on her. And it was just that she was in the bedroom having a bit of quiet time, having a bit of a moment. And I just wanted to be in the room. And I think that helped. So it's kind of just being aware of our surroundings. And men can sometimes be a bit like, whoa, like it's just, learning as you go.
Oh my goodness. And I love you, Adam, so much for even acknowledging your other baby that you guys had, that it takes a very strong person and somebody of courage and deep love. You're a great dad to continue to honor that baby and just like take it all in. And it's just, it says a lot about you, dude. Like, I know, very American, but it says a lot about you. And
yeah,
I'm just delighted for you. I'm delighted for this family. And I can see why Katy loves you so much. So thank you for just being so open and so real about your experience. And we really appreciate you.
And I appreciate you, everything you've done for us. It's not just Katy, like you've helped make this happen as much as we have. So like we're all one big family. And the next time you're in London, I'm coming to that show.
I know. No, totally. I know. I can't wait to see how big Riley is. So go and hug Katy for me. Sending you so much love from Texas, sir. Have an amazing night. And thank you again.
Thank you very much. See ya.
Hey, loves, wasn't my conversation with Adam absolutely incredible? Don't you just want to hug him? Like, British men have a new place in my heart all of a sudden. It's just so fantastic the way that Adam led the way in helping Katy find herself again, supporting Katy through the process of their loss, and of course, welcoming in their precious miracle girl. I got to meet that baby girl in London last year and give her mama a hug. They are absolutely incredible people. And if you want me to teach you what I taught Katy and that she applied to her journey to call in her miracle, go to my website, www.frommaybe2baby.com, to apply for an interview there. My Fearlessly Fertile Method programs have been helping women all over the world finally get and stay pregnant. And if you are not leveraging the power of the mind-body connection, baby, you got a gaping hole in your strategy. Let's fix that shit and set you up for fertility success. With your mind, you can go way beyond the limits of fertility medicine. Till next time, change your mindset, change your results.
Love this episode of the Fearlessly Fertile podcast? Subscribe now and leave an awesome review. Remember, the desire in your heart to be a mom is there because it was meant for you. When it comes to your dreams, keep saying hell yes.